Hey everybody, this is a quick video about how to live in a dystopian future. Now, if you read classic literature, you're well aware of dystopian futures, whether it's Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, 1984 by George Orwell, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. There are a lot of ways that the future could go wrong, but what happens when society today goes wrong? It doesn't matter what you think about COVID-19 or the coronavirus. Its effects, or their effects, have created a dystopian society. If you're watching this video, I don't have to tell you what's dystopian about today, but even though we live in this weird dystopian future, it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. If you keep your cool, there are ways to thrive in this dystopian future. Now, the first thing is to be grateful. As far as dystopian futures go, this one's not that bad. Stuff like war is way worse than face smotherings or antisocial distancing. I kind of like antisocial distancing. I also don't mind face smotherings because I don't have to worry about bad breath or food in my teeth. Plus, the face smothering hides the lack of symmetry in our faces, so the common person becomes more attractive. Now, as a kid, my dad got sent to another continent to fight and kill people he didn't know in a war. Looking back, that's a pretty bad situation. He came back from wars, the great Santini. He's traumatized, an alcoholic. He probably would have been alcoholic anyway, but war trauma didn't help. Now, I still get annoyed by today's stuff like strict travel restrictions and idea canceling, but man, I'll take that stuff and face smotherings over war any day. Now, the second thing is to not make yourself a target. The government can't enforce much. The government can't even enforce traffic laws. I live in a major city where drivers speed with impunity. I mean, last week I almost got hit by a school bus that was running a red light. So the government built the roads, hands out driver's licenses, sends out car registrations, but they still can't enforce squat when it comes to traffic. But the government can target individuals. So if you're too obvious about non-compliance, the government can get you. So don't scream about dystopian societies, don't get into people's faces, and for God's sake, don't storm Capitol buildings. Just live your life, be productive, raise your family, and treat dystopian rules like traffic laws. Don't be the fastest driver. The third thing that you can do is to turn off the screens. Mass media is pushing this dystopian future hard, whether it's television or radio or tech companies, and people have always fallen for mass media techniques. I mean, seriously, how many times throughout history have people gotten fired up for war because of government and mass media manipulation? And don't forget sugary cereal either. Just a couple generations ago, parents were persuaded by television screens to feed their kids sugar for breakfast. I mean, even with what we know now with health problems and diabetes, parents today still feed their kids sugar for breakfast. Even supposedly high IQ parents do this. Now, mass media can really be persuasive if you're not aware or paranoid about their tricks. I mean, their techniques. Now, if you can't turn off mass media, at least choose wisely. Stay away from anything with advertising. Beware of entertainers with promo codes, and don't watch the news. The news today, yeah, it looks like it's designed to cause emotional reactions rather than to inform. So you're probably better off reading the news. Reading the news is probably better for your brain anyway, and it's easier to avoid and spot the propaganda. And read my blog, and read my ebooks. No, I'm kidding, kind of. All right, the last thing, or it's not the last thing, but it's the last thing I'm going to talk about, is to stay away from the corporations as much as possible. I mean, corporations are enforcing the rules that the government can't enforce, and the corporations in turn, they're getting rewarded by the government, and they're making tons of money out of this. So just avoid the corporations as much as possible. Buy from local farmers markets instead of going to corporate grocery stores, and eat at local restaurants instead of fast food chains and stuff like that. Now, you can't avoid the corporations completely, or maybe you can't avoid them at all, so, don't stress over that. You don't have to go full Amish. That maybe it's not a bad idea. But the less that you rely on corporations, the less dystopian that your life can be. Now, obviously, this isn't everything you can do to live in a dystopian future, and my advice is kind of vague, but I hope it helps. And it's way better than reading 1984 or Brave New World and then complaining that those guys had it good. So what do you think? What other advice do you have for living in a dystopian future? And how does our dystopian future compare to dystopian futures in literature? I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe it's helpful. If you did enjoy it, yeah, you probably better not hit like or subscribe because the government or other entities might target you. If this video disappears or if I disappear, then you'll know. Everything is completely normal and okay. At any rate, hope you liked the video, and thanks for watching.